Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to talk about start collecting Warhammer Age of Sigmar Flesh Eater Courts, and today we're looking in particularly at the Subfaction Gristlegore. Now this is the monster heavy subfaction of the Flesh Eater Courts traditionally. This is where you take all the big beasties and they fly around murdering things. Now in this video we are going to look at the subfaction rule before looking at a couple of units to get started with for your collection. We'll then have a look at some other units we can use to expand upon the initial purchase, and then finally finish off the video with a little sample armor list of 1000 points for you to use, hopefully as some inspiration for starting your own force of the Flesh Eater Courts in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Now, the subfaction rule for Gristlegore is pretty simple. It's Savage Strike. At the start of your combat phase, you can prick a friendly Gristlegore monster on the battlefield and give that monster the Strike First effect. Now, this is pretty cool. This combines the fact with Gristlegore makes both your Royal Terrorgeist and Royal Zombie Dragon, the unmounted versions, Battleline within the force as well. So you can definitely get some monsters in and get multiple of them in the fights nice and quick, and make sure they get to fight before they get hit back, dealing big damage. Today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. And so, where to begin with for a Gristlegore force? For me, I actually think the Zombie Dragon with your Boar and Ghoul King on top is where I would start. I think overall, this is the one that's going to be your sort of more useful one out of the two. While the Terrorgeist straight up is going to deal more damage, this is definitely going to build your army up that little bit more. You can look to get the Terrorgeist version of the Boar and Ghoul King later down the line, but I would start with the Zombie Dragon as he's going to provide you with a character that actually supports some of the other pieces in your army first. Now that being said, the Abhorrent Ghoul King on a Zombie Dragon, he still has 16 wounds, a 4+ save, he's got a nice flying 4-inch move, he heals with Royal Blood each turn, which is really cool, and he's got, you know, some decent attacks. Pestilential Breath is his range attack, 12-inch, 6d6 attacks, 3s and 3s, Ren 1 damage 3 is really nice. The Gory Talons and Fangs, your Snapping Maw and Sword-like Fangs put in a bunch of damage between them, and, you know, they will be hitting on 4s on some of the monster attacks, but that's nothing too different from the Terrorgeist. It doesn't put out the mortal wounds like the Terrorgeist does, but it has some really other cool abilities. First of these is Draconic Terror, where the enemy can't receive Inspiring Presence while they're within 3 inches of the model, which is amazing, but Monstrous Hunger, a spell that can be cast by the character, and what this does is give all Flesh Eater Courts monsters within range, which is 18-inch, the ability to run and still charge later in the turn, which is just huge. Now, we then have, obviously, the first monster we want to look at, and I think the Terrorgeist is the better of the two monsters to start with. This one's going to start on the table. It has everything you expect from a Terrorgeist. It's got Gaping Maw for some really decent mortal wound output potential. Infested means when it goes down, it deals more mortal wounds, and Death Streak targets your opponent's bravery when it does a shooting attack and can do quite a bit of damage. On top of that, Fanged Maw and the Skeleton Talons in combat can do a decent amount of damage. Looking at where to go next though, the other monster you can obviously bring that will become Battleline is the standard Zombie Dragon. Now this still has Terror, which stops Inspiring Presence like the mounted one. It of course doesn't have the spell, doesn't have anything to do with the rider, but it does have Loathsome Descent where you can actually set this model up off the battlefield and bring it in from reserves. This can mean, you know, you can have a monster that can strike sort of out of nowhere. It does have a big base, so this can be zoned out relatively easy, but you know, it provides you with the threat, meaning your opponent has to worry about zoning out the monster or potentially receive a dragon in their rear lines. Now the other character we have options for in the monster versions is the Ghoul King on Royal Terrorgeist. His big thing is he's going to get Ferocious Hunger, which is a spell. This allows you to reroll hits for Fanged Maws on a friendly Royal Terrorgeist unit. Really cool, can make them quite deadly. He's also a wizard, can cast one, unbind one, as you would expect. Death Streak, Gaping Maw, Infested, and Royal Blood, or like either the regular Terrorgeist, or of course in Royal Blood's case, like the other character for the little bit of healing. Now, if we are looking into this force as well, though, we definitely need some bodies, and Crypt Ghouls are the only standard Battleline option we have with Flesh Eater Courts now, though they are a decent unit. You get 20 models for 160 points, which I think is a really nice amount of models. They're also going to have some interesting little things they can do on the table. Crypt Ghouls, first of all, Boundless Ferocity means they auto-wound on 6s to hit, or if they've got 20 or more models in the unit, they'll auto-wound on 5 or 6s, so large units of Crypt Ghouls can really put some hurt through. On top of that, Royal Approval means you improve the range characteristic of their melee weapons by 1 while they hold within 9 inch of any courtiers or 18 inch of any abhorrents, which your Ghoul Kings on Terrorgeist or Zombie Dragons are. Lastly, we have the Endless Spells, and there's a few of these that I think are really interesting. The first is Cadaverous Barricade. It's a terrain piece you put down on the table when you cast it, and this stops enemy models being able to run or retreat near, and also halves their movement. It's going to be really good if you're trying to just stay safe with some of your big monsters. It can be a nice little piece. Stick it, near one of your monsters your enemy can't retreat, and you're potentially, tying something up, not letting them move onto objectives where other pieces sort of move around. The Chalice of Usharan, I think, is my favourite one. This, you keep track of how many models sort of die around it and suffer wounds, and it can do some healing for you, which can be really important with your big monsters. Lastly, the Corpse Mare Stampede. I mean, this is just some straight up direct damage dealing mortal wounds, which is really cool. And so here we have our Flesh Eater Courts sample army. Now, to start with, we have gone with Gristlegore, obviously, Mortal Realm Shaiish, all that stuff we expect for this particular force. And then we have the grand strategy, Expand the Kingdom. This one means when the battle ends, we need to have a friendly abhorrent unit, which can be our Ghoul King in enemy territory, and the enemy general is not wholly within enemy territory, aka we've killed them probably. Now, this is pretty cool. We've gone for Bloodthirsty with a Triumph, as we are 35 points under. Triumph here with Bloodthirsty is more important than the +1 a wound. When you've got so few units in your army, you need to make sure those charges connect, so you definitely want to have the access to rerolls whenever you need it. The fact that this can be used on a reroll for, say, if you had to use a command point on your Royal Terrorgeist, for example, you can then use Bloodthirsty on your other monster in the army and make sure both of them get in and get dealing damage. Now, we then have our leader, who's the Abhorrent Ghoul King on Royal Zombie Dragon. We do have points. If you like the Terrorgeist better, you can easily just swap this out. The Terrorgeist and Zombie Dragons are completely swappable in any way within this list. Now, the command trait we've gone for is Feverish Scholar. This is +1 to cast, and +2 to cast if we actually have 6 of the Noble Deed points on the model. Now, we've gone for the artifact on it, the Blood River Chalice, which is a once per game heal for the model, which is really cool. This allows us to heal 2d3 wounds on the bearer. Really important. Healing is just going to be so important. We're making sure we keep our big models alive. Now, we've gone for a mount trait on the model, which is a Venerated Zombie Dragon, which I think is one of the best mount traits you have. This is going to save you on command points and allow you to use them on defensive abilities, like all-out defense, to keep your models alive. But Venerated Zombie Dragon means all Flesh Eater Courts monsters within 12 inches of this unit that are wholly within that range get +1 to hit. Really, really good. And then we got a spell, Flaming Weapon, +1 damage on our rider's attacks, which actually can make him pretty deadly at damage 3. For Battleline, we've got 20 Crypt Ghouls for a unit to sit on objectives, and a Royal Terrorgeist. This is going to be our secondary monster, and like I said, if you want a second Zombie Dragon, you can easily swap that out here. And then we have the Chalice of Usharan, which I just think is an important endless spell to have for the Force. This is going to make sure the big monsters stay alive as long as possible. 50 wounds, 3 drops. If you want, this could be a battle regiment. It's got a character and 2 units. Remembering the Behemoth keyword drops off the Terrorgeist when it becomes a Battleline model, so you can have that in a battle regiment core battalion if you want to. But if you've got some ideas on your own Gristlegore force, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And so, that's the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below, letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our great little community here, we have a Discord server linked down in the video's description, and also linked down there are the best ways to help support the channel as well. Our Patreon and YouTube members down there are fantastic ways to help support the channel, and if you'd like to get a shout out like all these people, you can go and join up today. So with that said, we'd like to give a shout out to all our Patreon and YouTube members. So thank you to our Patreons, Rob B, Broken Chef, Andy C, Grimscold, Colorblind Magic, Benjamin Swallows, James Cater, Mark Harvey, Domir, Average Wargamer, Q Damak, Andrew Bowen, Outer and Shot First, Kenny Lowe and Soren, and to our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lock Lorick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, James Tillman, Disco, John Castle, and Gargamel196. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe everyone, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.